Hello. I am away at a music festival, so instead of having the poor substitute try and figure out what my crazy intentions are, I'm just going to make a video of me teaching it, and then you can do it while I'm teaching it to you on the video. So make sure you have a pencil, and make sure you have both of the papers that you're supposed to get on the way in the room, a yellow one and a white one, okay? If you still owe me a test, if you didn't finish your test, or if something was weird with your test or you didn't finish it, we will take care of that next time, rather than try to mess with that now, okay? So I want you to get out your yellow paper and your white paper and have a pencil ready to go. Your two papers should look almost exactly the same, except for one's yellow and one's white, right? On top of the yellow one, you're going to write the words rough draft. R-O-U-G-H-D-R-A-F-T. On top of the yellow paper, you are writing the words rough draft. You should be doing this right now. On top of the white paper, you are going to write final draft. F-I-N-A-L-D-R-A-F-T. Final draft on top of the white paper. Now, flip your white paper over. Up where it says your name, please put your name, not Mrs. Tidy. Make sure you're writing your name. How much do you want to bet somebody's going to write Mrs. Tidy? Write your name. And then over here, write the date and the period, or the day and the period. Then come down to where the words Chinese Pentatonic Composition Grading Rubric. Do you see that? It's in the middle of the page. You're going to put a little squiggly line across, or it could be a straight line, I don't care. Squigglies are easier to see though. And then below that, you're going to write for Mrs. Tidy. Again, you're putting a squiggly line across your paper, and you're going to write the words for Mrs. Tidy. So this is your grading rubric. This is what I am going to use to give you your grade on the composition. It tells you exactly what I'm grading you on and how much everything is worth, okay? Don't write down here, this is for me. You could use this over here and write a check mark over here, that's fine with me, I don't care, but don't write inside the box, that's for me. Now, this part up here is your favorite part of the paper. This is going to tell you basically everything you need to know about this composition, all right? There's a cool little checklist over here. If you check off everything on this list and you actually have it on your paper, you will get 100%. I guarantee it. If you check it and you actually did it right and followed what it asks you to do, you will get 100%. Up here, these are the required rhythms. You can do more than what's here, but these are the ones that you have to use. Notice it says the name of the note, shows you a picture of that note, shows you the rest, and then it tells you how much it's worth. For this composition, you're going to be using a 4/4 time signature. I'm going to write it up here so you can see it. 4/4 time signature, which means you want 4 beats in every single measure. All right? This one, half note, 2 beats, that's a half rest, and it tells you it's worth 2. Whole note, that's what it looks like. Notice it says do not use. That means the rest. Do not use a whole rest. You should use the whole note, but not the whole rest. And it's worth 4 beats. And then finally, the 8th notes. Again, don't use the 8th rest. We don't want to use them. They're a pain in the butt. It's worth 1 per pair. So you're going to use both 8th notes at the same time, and that is worth 1 beat. Okay? If you want to go above and beyond, again, this is just what's required. If you want to do more, go for it. If you want to use 16th notes, yay. If you want to use triplets, go for it. If you want to use dotted notes, go ahead. This is what's required, all right? You are also only allowed to use what you know how to use. So for example, Mrs. Tidy, I want to use triplets, but I don't know how to write them. Then I guess you shouldn't use them. Don't use something you don't know how to use, all right? Pentatonic notes, we will talk about that in a second, okay? These are the notes that you're going to be able to use in your composition. I believe we did these on the back of your pink paper, but it doesn't matter because it's right here for you, so it's okay. Notice I drew the stems on here so you know which way your stems go, because if you look over here, stems up and down. If you look down here in your grading rubric, stem direction, it's worth at least 5 points. And stems on the correct side of the note, another 5 points. So you want to make sure that you're paying attention to which way those stems go when you need a stem. If you don't need a stem, like if it's a whole note, it doesn't matter, okay? Now, oh my gosh, Mrs. Tidy, we're freaking out. We have no clue what's going on. Guess what? We're going to do an example together. So here's your yellow paper. This is where you wrote rough draft. Flip it over, and on this paper, I have an example section for you. So notice this says A1 section. If you look on your actual composition, it says the same thing, A1 section, okay? Notice there's an A section, there's a B section, and then there's A2. So when you actually write this composition, you're gonna write 4 measures up here, you're gonna write 4 measures here, and then all you're gonna do is take the A and copy it down here. So you really are only writing 8 measures worth of music and then copying those last 4 measures, right? You probably have questions about that. It won't matter because you won't get that far today, all right? You're just going to be working on the A section today, and that's it. I don't want you to go any farther just in case you're not understanding what's going on. Don't work farther than the A section, all right? Let's go back over to our practice measures. So here's our A section. Now this is an example. This is not what you are going to use on your actual composition because we are using an example right now. So you can't steal mine. This is my composition. You're going to write it with me to practice, but you're not actually going to use this, okay? So we're going to go up and look at step 1. Step 1 says, in pencil, lightly write above the staff the rhythm you want to use. Remember, you need 4 beats per measure. Use your required rhythms from your checklist to help you. So, we're going to lightly write this because you're eventually going to erase it. All right? So here I am. My first measure. My measure is within this bracket, okay? I'm going to look over here at my required rhythms. And I'm going to pick a required rhythm. Oh, I'm going to go with a quarter note. That's worth 1 beat. And then I'm going to do a half note. That's worth 2 beats. So that's 3 beats total. And then I'm going to do a rest. That's a total of 4 beats. So I go back over. Above my measure, lightly, I am going to write that information. So I'm going to do a quarter note, lightly shaded in, a half note, and a quarter rest. This is worth 1, that's worth 2, that's worth 1 for a total of 4 beats. Let's look at our second measure. Sorry, I'll give you a chance to write that, sorry. Quarter note, half note, quarter rest. Make sure you're writing this on your example paper, which is the back of your yellow paper. Okay, we're going to do an easy one in the second measure. What note is worth 4 beats? Let's look over here, and we're going to pick an easy one. Which note is worth 4 beats? Oh, ding, 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 4. Let's use a whole note. Back over here, up in the air, you're going to write a whole note. Okay? Next measure. Let's use something we haven't used yet. We have not used 8th notes. So let's take a look. We haven't used any 8th notes. And I think we'll just do a couple 8th notes and some quarter notes, okay? So here we are. 8th notes. 8th notes. Quarter note. And let's do one more set of 8th notes. Why not? So your third measure is 8th, 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 quarter, 8th, 8th. Now remember, 8ths are always in pairs of 8ths. And your last measure, let's keep it simple and just use that whole note again. Okay, so this is step 1. Step 2. Decide what pentatonic notes you want to use for each rhythm. Move the notes to the staff lines. Pay attention to stem direction and location. Use your composition checklist for help. Okay, so here we are. This is where it gets a little confusing. Don't freak out. If you don't understand what's going on, it's okay. I will be back next week and I will help you. But it's really not too bad. Some of you are going to have the aha moment. Help your friends that aren't quite getting it. Here is our rhythm. We now have to take this rhythm and put it down here on the staff line so that it becomes a pitch, okay? The notes that you're allowed to use are on your checklist right there. You're allowed to use a G, an A, a B, a D, an E, or a high G. We're going to call them do, re, mi, sol, and la because that's how we talked about them when we spoke about them on our paper. So I'm going to take my first quarter note and I'm going to make it a do. If you look, do is on the second line, okay? So we go back over here. We take this rhythm right here. We bring it down and we put it where do would go, which is the second line. We color it in because it's a quarter note and we put a stem on it. Now, let's just go check to make sure that our stem is the right way. Go back over to your paper. Here's your pentatonic notes. There's do, and the stem goes up, and it's on the right side of the note. So we got it. Yay! Go team. We have our next note. We have a half note now. Half note has to come down here to the line somewhere. So let's go over. Let's put it where, let's go where sol is. So sol is on the 1, 2, 3, 4th line. It's a D. So we're going to go back over here, take our note, and we're going to bring it down to the 4th line. We make our circle. It stays empty because it's a half note, right? And our stem on sol goes down. So it's going to go down and to the left. The last thing we do in this measure is we make our rest. Our rest is just wherever you want to put it. There is no pitch for a rest, so you can put it wherever you want. Chances are you understand what's going on at this point. We're going to do a couple more just so you get the idea. We go to our half note, or our whole note now. We need to pick a new pitch for it. So we've used do. Woo! We used do. We used sol. That's all we've used. So let's go to re. Re is in the second space. We're going to come back over here, take our whole note and put it into the second space. Because that, ooh, I can't write with one hand, sorry. I can't hold the paper still. Re is in the second space. Okay? Does it need a stem? Doesn't look like it has a stem up there. So we're good. A whole note has no stem. So that's it. That's all you have to do for that one. Now we're going to go down here and deal with these eighth notes. I'm going to pick certain notes for these so you can see the different ways you have to do them, okay? I'm going to start by putting my first eighth note on the same pitch. I'm going to go with mi. So let's look over here. Mi is in your third line. 1, 2, 3. So we're going to put both note heads on mi. 1, 2, 3. Put both of our note heads on mi. So we're taking this eighth note and bringing it down. Okay, this pair of eighth notes, I should say. Mi had stems down, so your stems are going to go down on both of them, and then you connect them. Sorry, that's sloppy. There you go. Easy enough. But Mrs. Tidy, what if I want them in 2 different locations? Okay, let's do it in 2 different locations. Let's make this one do, and let's make this one re. Okay, so bring this down to do. Bring this one to re. Both do and re have stems that go up. So we'll put their stems up and do that. Okay, I'm just going to throw this guy in here real quick. We're going to put him where la is because we already kind of know what was going on. So la. Now this guy is going to be a little bit weird. We're going to put him in 2 different locations, and one of them is going to be a stems down and one of them is going to be a stem up. Watch what I do. So this, we're going to make this a do. And we're going to make this eighth note, let's go sol. Now technically, do is supposed to go up and sol is supposed to go down. What you do when you have that type of note is you pick one direction and they both go that way. So I'm going to go up with both of them. Up, and connect them.